Hi there. I'm John Michael Garapi, and this is Popcorn Roulette. Each episode, I invited guests on the show. They suggest a movie, we get together, and we talk about the movie. Today, I have with me Jeffrey Norman Bourbeau. Jeff, how you doing?
Great.
What do you do, Jeff?
One of the things that I do is I make and talk about board games. Exciting stuff, let me tell you.
How long have you been doing that?
For over 10 years now.
Oh.
I guess the most exciting thing recently that happened would be that the X-Files board game and Dirk Gently Holistic Detective board game that I contributed to were announced and will be released soon. So, yay.
Excellent. What's the company that makes them?
IDW.
Cool.
They do a lot of licenses.
Yeah. We've been doing this for a long time. You and I
talking about games.
Talking about games,
yeah,
just in general.
man,
That's where we started talking on podcasts.
2007 we began, and we released our first content in 2009.
Yeah. So
Yep.
go us.
Yeah, look where it's gotten us.
The big time. Lights
Well,
and
I mean,
everything.
I'm a Twitch partner now for board games, which means that we have like paid ad content from Twitch, and Twitch is more popular with younger kids than actual television. So take that, mom and dad, I guess. I don't know.
They never thought you'd make anything of yourself, and now you have
Not
a
in
bunch
that
of...
regard, that's for sure. Yeah.
Today we're talking about Westworld, starring Richard Benjamin, James Brolin, and Yul Brynner, directed and written by Michael Crichton.
Yeah.
But before we do that, we get to the snack of the day, the theater food. You wanted Napoli's, and we don't have Napoli's.
This is the family-friendly snack that I was able to pick. So.
Yes, this was the fake version of Napoli's, unfortunately. All right, we got ourselves some beach pizza from the beach.
I feel like it's going to get all of my teeth. Here we go.
Yep.
Pizza's pretty good. No matter when you eat it.
This is the unfortunate thing is, like, we're supposed to get Napoli's with Romano cheese on it, which is like this great...
Well, I mean, the best pizza in the world is from New Haven, Connecticut. I think that's like an accepted thing, right? Like if you Google pizza, best pizza, it's going to say New Haven, Connecticut.
Doesn't every city just claim that they have the best pizza in the world, though?
Yeah, but New Haven, Connecticut is known for the best pizza. They have like mashed potato pizza. It's like they invent good pizza. Also, Chicago, that's not even pizza. That's like lasagna pie thing, like gross and weird. Hey, if you're gonna watch a movie, like why would you want to get like popcorn in your teeth and a bunch of weird, like no, you want to eat like something refreshing like pizza.
Whenever I need to be refreshed after a long jog, I just reach for a nice glass of pizza.
So Westworld, I had never seen, but I liked Jurassic Park, which was a Michael Crichton joint as well, right?
Yes.
And Yul Brynner, I think, was in a bunch of cool movies like The Ten Commandments, right?
Yeah, no, he was also in the Magnificent Seven. Okay,
yeah.
There we go.
Which actually he
there.
reprises that role in Westworld. So Westworld came out as a TV show, and I was like, this show is crazy. I love it. I did a podcast recapping every episode of Westworld as they aired, theorizing what the show would be about and what each kind of plot point was. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And I'd always wanted to watch the movie, but I never got around to it. So your show was like a catalyst to motivate me to actually watch the movie.
I'm glad to have you. It's getting me to watch movies, which is great too, because I don't really have the excuse. Now I have, like, it's part of my job now to watch a movie.
Did you watch it in black and white, or did you watch it in color?
The Westworld?
Yeah.
I watched it in color. Did you come across a black and white version?
So if you Google it and like stuff, like there's a lot of screen caps of it in black and white because it's presented in like Technicolor.
Yeah.
Because I guess it was filmed in black and white. So like that's
and then
why
colored
like,
after the
yeah,
fact?
like the blood in the movie, it looks really weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, almost like
they colored it.
like Kool-Aid that was splayed out of somebody.
Yeah, exactly. That's because they didn't use like realistic blood effects.
I presume that was part of Michael Crichton's vision. That's the idea, that he wanted it in black and white.
No,
to
it
look
was
like an old
it was a
Western.
1973 film. I assume they just didn't like.
Still, color was in common use at that point. So
No, it was,
I'll have to
it
look
was
into
like
this.
it was like Technicolor, man. It wasn't even like the full. I don't know. A lot of the shots were in black and white that I saw. So
before we go much further, why don't we explain the plot of Westworld? So how does Westworld work?
So Westworld is like Jurassic Park. You go to a theme park of the future where anything you could possibly imagine is possible. They say it's the theme park of the future today, I think is what they say at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And they interview guests as they arrive and like, what did you see? Well, I went to medieval world and I got to be a knight and marry a beautiful princess. I went to Roman world and I got to participate in many adult behaviors.
Some sort of orgy?
Yeah, I wasn't going to, can I say, what?
It seems to be
What is the rating of your TV show?
We're fine.
Okay, so they got to, like, this one lady was like real happy because she got to get down with a bunch of centurions. And then one guy was like the sheriff for 2 weeks in Westworld because he was a stockbroker and he seemed like real proud of himself for being a man for 2 weeks of his entire life. So people got to live out their fantasies in this world. It emulates like a virtual reality kind of Grand Theft Auto video game fantasy where you can do whatever you want without repercussions in an open world simulation, which is the same thing that TV show did.
Yeah.
In that like, oh, well, I can kill someone without a repercussion. What kind of person do you become in a world like that? Do you become a sheriff? Do you become a bank robber? Do you become something even worse?
And everything
or even better, you know.
Everything just resets itself in a week, like
essentially.
Nothing ends. No permanent damage is
right
done.
Now the movie does not take it to the extent the TV show does. The TV show, goes on and on and on for weeks of storyline.
Yeah.
The movie is like extremely accelerated. One of the people that's featured is a returning guest, and one of them is a new guest.
Yeah.
Right?
And presumably, I don't think it's any it's cool. We're operating on there's spoilers going on. We're just going to talk about the movie. This entire conversation is lasting
That's the point of this show, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of the point of the show. So the whole premise
came out in the 70s.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, Jeff.
I should hope you should have seen it.
Filmed before both of us were born.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyways, which
is also mind-blowing.
The whole point to Westworld, to some extent, is that the robots start breaking down and they start attacking the guests. That's kind of the theme.
Yeah. So it there's a lot of things in the movie that were both inspired other things and inspired by things. So like the main villain, his character, what's the actor's name? Yul Brynner?
Yul Brynner.
Yul Brynner. He plays a guy with like a black hat and a black suit, and he's a gunslinger. But he's actually wearing the exact same outfit that his actor played in the Magnificent, or the whatever it was.
The Magnificent Seven.
Magnificent Seven. So like that's the concept. Like in this video game world, they transported a character, right?
Yeah.
But then his character, being an unstoppable killing robot, inspired Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in Terminator 2.
Right.
So this movie had like a lot of social and pop culture impact on like the designscape of other film writers at the time.
Strangely, we could probably say that this movie inspired Michael Crichton to write Jurassic Park later on as well.
Totally, like Dinosaur World was probably like an idea that was ruminating around when he's creating this, and then it just spun off into its own concept.
Let's talk about the actors while we're talking about it. How did you feel the acting was in this movie?
So Yul Brynner is amazing. It was weird that he was more robotic than other people, and that was a little off-putting because I was like, does he realize that they're supposed to be humans and not robots?
Does he realize the other actors around him aren't doing as good a job as robots? They're just acting like normal humans.
There's one other robot that is super robotic, so I was like, oh, maybe that's part of the movie, and it's like this prostitute lady who is a blonde girl that sleeps with one of the guests.
Yeah.
So like Yul Brynner's character and the lady both get really glazy, glossy-eyed, and she has it happen when she sleeps with the dude, and as soon as he's like finishing, she gets like crazy-eyed, and then like he gets crazy-eyed later when he starts murdering people, and as soon as he kills a human, he's like, oh, like he awakens. Maybe it's just like the really like robotic ones are waking up,
you get the impression
or they're
that perhaps
broken and filled with a virus. Because that's the other concept, is like this is the first reference to any computer virus ever.
Crichton might be doing it with characters that he wants to be off-putting too. Like, I mean, Yul Brynner, that entire time acting as the gunslinger, he's supposed to be a threat, like from the beginning, just a
Right.
mute threat, and then later on an actual threat. That prostitute scene, it's supposed to seem weird, I think. I think it's
Absolutely.
not supposed to
Right.
seem like, oh, it's like a love scene. It's like a man with a sex bot. you
Yeah,
know?
it's gross, right? It's very strange. I don't. What's weird to me about Westworld and both for the TV show and the movie is that there's no character who's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
I kind of want to sleep with like a consensual robot, I guess.
Yeah.
Is always made out to be like that's the male fantasy.
Yeah.
Or the female fantasy too, I guess, in that case. But even now, like in modern real life world, people are like, oh, we're designing sex robots. Everyone's like, that's the weirdest thing ever. Why would you want to sleep with a sex robot? So like, I don't understand like these sci-fi worlds. I guess they're like just taking that to like another extreme, right?
Extrapolating, seeing where the media goes
Yeah,
and how they kind of follow this sort of
Right,
thing.
like Black Mirror, the TV show, they take a concept of our modern culture's technology and they heighten it to another level. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it's like that, I guess.
I got a quote here from Michael Crichton. He says that I was pleased but intimidated by the audience reaction. The laughs are in the wrong places. There was extreme tension where I hadn't planned it. I felt the reaction. Maybe the picture was out of control. Do you have any idea, like, why Michael Crichton?
Do you think they were laughing when he got like acid on his face?
I wonder if they were.
He's melted. Like I don't know. That's very weird. I don't know where they would have been laughing. In
Yeah,
the
I
70s.
know Michael Crichton had, like, he never wanted to tell a story in which, like, technology was bad. And, like, that's how
Yeah.
his movie got framed. Like,
Really?
his main focus, like he said in interviews, like, this is about corruption. It's about what happens when you don't follow specific standards and you do things on the cheap and you don't
Right, because
properly
there's a lot of
engineer.
things like, oh, nothing works around here.
Yeah.
The power won't come back on. He doesn't really get that point across very well, though.
No, he doesn't,
Like,
actually.
yeah, the scientists are mad, and then their door won't even open, so they suffocate to death.
It's the weirdest
It's like,
death ever.
this is that whole
Least dramatic death possible.
There's definitely like a switch. Like half the movie, the first half of the movie is very good, and it seems like extremely well written and is fluid. And then the second half of the movie is just like, what is going on? Like these scientists just killed themselves in a room because they don't know how to open their own door.
Yeah.
And then like the main character runs from like one part of the theme park to another part of the theme park to another part of the theme park just by like, how does he know how to get there?
Yeah.
Like, how
What?
does he know where the secret tunnel is? How does he How does he know his way through these endless corridors that stretch on for miles? He
How
just-
exactly does a gunslinger follow his footprints? Which I'm not actually sure
Well,
if that works.
that's fine. Whatever. He's
Okay.
got crazy eyes. Like he's got remember they brought him back and they're like, oh, we better upgrade his eyes to crazy eyes. Like,
This is actually the first movie with CGI, period.
Yes,
That's
yes,
the
it
first
is.
computer-generated image.
which is terrible looking.
It's just the dot matrix of, like, his vision.
Yeah. That's how you saw his dot matrix footsteps that he sees.
Yeah.
Why didn't he see him laying down with his acid when all the other bodies were not? I don't know. I guess for the movie's sake, he had to splash him in the face with acid because the scientist earlier said you got to splash him in the face with acid.
I've got a negative review to pull out because I always bring out a negative,
negative
review.
review.
Yeah,
Okay.
always bring out a negative review because I'm never gonna trash a movie that we bring out. Most of the time, I guess, bringing great movies. This one comes by Josh Larson from his website Larson on Film.
Okay.
If only Michael Crichton had realized Westworld was too good of an idea to give to a writer-director like Michael Crichton. The result is a picture continuously undermined by clumsy staging, pacing, and tone. Fight scenes rely almost exclusively on slow motion. Other sequences go on long after their purposes have been served. Yeehaw country music pops up at the most inopportune times.
Yes, it does.
In terms of basic filmmaking technique, there is very little to admire.
Yeah.
There is some satire in the devouring tourist becoming prey, but Crichton just lets the joke sit there, heavy on the screen. Neither does he find a way to make the horror resonate in any upsetting way. Only one throwaway moment involving a victim in medieval world's dungeon who may or may not be a robot truly disturbs, yet only briefly and merely as a suggestion as what could have been. If it was any of
That
this
scene is really cool though when he frees that girl.
Yeah.
And he gives her water and she dies. But that's super. That's a on point review. Everything that I noted is listed in that review. Like, why is there twangy guitar montages here for no reason?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So
Like your pacing is
pacing was weird.
weird and off. I think also there's something to be said about the fact that like that fight scene, I think Michael Crichton's trying to work with tropes. He's trying to say like, oh, you come to Western town, you're going to see all this crazy stuff. There's going to be fighting
Bank
and
robbery,
bank
yeah.
robberies going on and whatnot. But he's looking at it from a movie's perspective, and he's not looking from a realistic perspective. Like we would like to see a real fight at the saloon.
Yeah.
Not a Hollywoodized version of it. That's the point of coming to Westworld.
That's fair criticism. I still enjoyed the movie a lot.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
It's a fun movie. It seems to be trapped a little bit in its time period, and
Yeah,
a little bit by Michael Crichton
the
himself.
TV show does an excellent job of remaking it for a modern audience, in my opinion.
So what would you say is a major difference between this and the TV show?
It's huge. I mean, the vision of the creators and the company, like, there's a singular vision of a dude who runs the Westworld and the TV show, and the infrastructure of all that's a little bit differently. The way the virus of what's being controlled of the robots is differently in the TV show, because it's like supplanted by the maker himself. Although there is this part in the TV show where they're like, the robots at this point have been made by other robots. We don't even know how they work.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean that's straight up in the movie. Like,
Right, yeah, no, I'm saying in the movie,
Okay,
in the
yeah.
movie they say that, and you're like, oh, okay, well now I understand why this is so out of control.
Right.
And then they're talking about viruses, and they're like, okay, well, maybe at some point the robots themselves gain some kind of artificial intelligence. In the TV show, the maker himself, potentially turned himself into a robot at some point to
Yeah.
live forever. And I don't know. The TV show's amazing. Only one season's been out. Everyone should go watch it.
Talk real quickly about there being 3 worlds there. How do you
Yeah.
feel about medieval and Roman world just in general?
It's kind of weird. Like, I don't understand the point of Roman world.
It seemed to be an adjunct.
Like-
It seemed like they wanted 2 worlds, and they're
Yeah.
just like, oh, for this to make sense as a theme park, it needs a 3rd.
Yeah,
So-
like Roman world how is that different from medieval world? You still have swords, you still have castles.
Well, here's another question.
It's just
So-
different clothes.
So in Westworld, you have a gun with a heat sensor on it, so you can't hit a guest.
Yeah.
How do you not plow someone through with a sword in
Well,
medieval world?
Potentially he's not supposed to do that, right? But then we see him just straight up do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very strange.
I also would like to know, like, why the gunslinger can shoot real bullets at guests when you would think that he would also have some sort of heat sensor on his gun as well. But
He's supposed to. He's broken. That's the point.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
premise of the movie.
Let's
Them
say-
robots broke. Like,
Let's say it's the future world of 1983, right?
Sure.
And you're going to spend $2,500. It's $1,000 a day, inflation.
yeah.
But like, you're going to spend this amount of money. Like, what world would you like to go to?
So it's the
You're not trapped by these
we're
3
in like
worlds.
the drug-fueled 80s,
Yeah.
and I'm spending $1,000 a day to go any world I want to.
Any world you want to, yeah.
I want to go to the Napoleonic War world, where
Okay.
I can go on a boat and shoot other boats with cannons.
You want
I want to be captain. I want to be
You want
like
something in
Jean-Luc
Commander,
Picard.
right?
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
his fantasy in the holodeck, he's always like, well, let's do some Horatio Hornblower up in here. I'm going to be
Exactly.
captain. You're all my mates, and we're going to go on a boat, and like we're going to shoot some pirates. And that's exactly what I would want to do. Done. That's like, why didn't they do that? Everyone would want to. Do
I would assume everyone would want to do that.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
We're getting to the end here. Unfortunately, we don't have too much time left. But what would you say? Like, first of all, you watch Westworld, because we've kind of been all over the place as to how good is it. Would you consider it a good movie? Do you think people should watch it?
I thought it was an excellent movie. Everyone should watch it. I mean, if you've seen the TV show, yes, it's
Yeah.
a must-watch. There's so much inspiration from it. It could even be tied to the same universe, et cetera, because there's nothing saying that in the movie the park shut down
Yeah.
at all. You know what I mean? It literally ends with him. How does it even end?
It ends with him
It's
like
it's
sitting
a real
on a
sharp
step.
ending. So yeah, it ends with him on the steps, just kind of like bummed.
Yeah.
And everyone's dead, and the world is in the amusement parks not amusing anymore.
Right.
Right. Amazing. So go watch it.
All right,
that's the
cool.
emotion I wanted. From
Jeff, it was great having you on.
Oh, thank you, John.
I want you on sometime in the future, but it was great having you on today. Hey, thank you for joining us. Take care.